What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Random Red Shirt Podcast. I am Zach, one of the hosts, and hosting with me as always is Chris. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everyone. Privyet. Welcome, everyone around the interwebs. Thank you for joining us around the world. Thank you. It's great to be here, Zach and Jenny. Thank you so much for being here. Awesome.
I am so happy to be back, you guys. I had so fun. I had so much fun with you guys in our last review. I'm so stoked to keep going.
Yeah, welcome back. And for those of you, this might be the first time tuning into the Random Red Shirt Podcast. Jenny Johnson is guest hosting with us for the remainder of our review of Picard Season 3. So if you haven't watched those reviews, stop and go back and watch them because they're awesome. And also watch her art show because that was also fantastic. And so be sure to do that. Also, we are just two nerdy guys who like to talk about all things nerdy, Star Trek, Star Wars, and everything in between. And if this is your first time watching on YouTube or listening to us, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and the bell for notifications, and check us out on Instagram and Facebook. And with that being said, get all the business out of the way up front. We are on Picard Season 3, episode number 6. This is exciting. We are over halfway now through this, and I don't want it to end. I mean, do you guys want this to end? Because I don't want this to end anytime soon. Now, we only have 4 episodes after this. It's kind of sad to think about.
Yeah. I don't want it to end.
When it was 5, it felt okay. Like, there was we're halfway, it's fine. And now all of a sudden 4 seems like
not enough.
Nothing left. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot more coming. I mean, people keep teasing on Facebook and Instagram. You haven't seen anything yet. There's still so much more coming and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, how much more can we get? Especially after episode 6. My goodness. This was crazy.
Yeah.
I would say, now I'm going to ask you guys this question. Of all the episodes we've watched of season 3 of Picard, do you think this had either the most or maybe the best Easter egg so far out of the whole season? Because we've had a lot of Easter eggs so far in these first 6 episodes.
I mean, it certainly had the most.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's been so many great callbacks that I don't know, like, but there were so many great callbacks in this episode, like so many.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, this one for sure had the most.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think it was probably appropriate. I think in this one with the themes that they were talking about in this particular episode. So I think it worked out.
Yeah, I would agree. It was this was jam-packed full of Easter eggs. There was some great interpersonal moments. There was some amazing, there was a few scenes, and we'll get into all this here in a few minutes for those of you watching or listening. There was a few moments where I don't do this very often when I watch something, but there were a few moments where I literally yelled at my TV. Not like I'm yelling at a sporting event where my wife's telling me to stop yelling. This was like oh my gosh, kind of moments. It was fantastic. So did either one of you yell at your TVs like I did, or was I just the only insane person watching this episode?
I did a lot of oh, no, is that, oh, what? And then the crying also. There was a bit of crying.
Well, and you watched yours really early in the morning too, right, Jenny?
Yeah.
If I had done that, I'd be like, I'm not crying. It's early and I yawned. That's my eyes are watering. Yeah.
I did not yell at my TV, Zach. Jenny, no, I did not yell. The TV was kept okay. Didn't throw anything at it either.
No, I didn't throw anything, but I pointed a lot. I did a lot of pointing. There were a few moments. Yeah, I'll tell you about those later. But man, my goodness, this episode was insane. So with that being said, if you have not watched episode 6 yet, this is going to be full of spoilers, obviously, as the title of this video or audio says on your favorite podcast platform, which you can also go check out anywhere you get your podcasts. There's going to be a lot of spoilers, so be sure to stop right here and come back and watch this after you've watched Picard episode number 6 of season 3. Now that we've warned you of this possible spoiler, or not lots of spoilers, I should say, Chris, let's get into this. Let's jump into this, and hope you and Jenny are ready because we got a lot to unpack.
Yeah, that'll be great. There'll be spoils all along the way on this one. Zach, I just want to acknowledge your cool Ghostbuster shirt.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. That is fantastic.
We're working that today. And then Jenny, you've got an awesome Soldier Boy shirt, so that's awesome as well.
Completely out of left field. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and surrounded by some fantastic artwork too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
by the way, if you have not watched her art show, I already said it, but go watch it. The virtual art show right
Thank
here on the Random Richard podcast, right down below. Go check out her episode where we interviewed her and did her art show. It's fantastic. All right.
So I'm curious on what both of you thought. So we opened this episode, and the title of the episode, and I think we knew the title before, but the title of the episode is The Bounty. So I saw that title come up. I wasn't. I mean, it becomes obvious to me later on in the episode, but I wasn't sure what it was going to be about. The bounty. But so I was a little bit unclear at that. But when that title came up, or if you remember what you felt when that title came up, did you have any preliminary thoughts? You go, where's this going? What is the bounty? And I say that because some of the titles in these earlier episodes, like we had No Win Scenario, right? No Win Scenario was that definitely took me back. I'm like going, okay, they're connecting it to some past Star Trek episodes. That was cool. So when you saw the bounty, if you had any immediate thoughts, you want to share those?
I definitely in my head went to the ship.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thinking, knowing that Geordi was involved with the Fleet Museum.
Yeah,
I just thought maybe, or and then I was also thinking maybe it's just a play on words, and they're talking about like Vadic being like a bounty hunter or something.
Yeah, yeah, nice. How about you, Zach?
So I did not go to the ship, and the reason why, and people are going to say take his Trekkie card from him, but I didn't. I forgot the name. I forgot the name of that ship in Star Trek 4. So I didn't think that. Honestly, when I thought the bounty, I was thinking of Jack Crusher. That was my first. Like he's the bounty, right? Like that's what Vadic's after. So I initially thought, okay, not that the other episodes haven't been about Jack, but this is maybe we're going to get some reveals of stuff about Jack and why Vadic is after him, why he's this bounty that they're trying to bring back in. That was my initial thought. I actually was not even thinking that ship at all. So if people want to take my Trekkie card, I guess you can try to pull it from my lifeless dead fingers.
No, actually, I think you have a great point, because that's multiple meanings in that title, right? Jack is the bounty, and the ship is the bounty. So that was great. And you spoke of Vadic, and like we hadn't really seen Vadic in a tremendous amount, like in the last episodes, but we open with Vadic, and we open with Vadic, right? On her ship, and she's Vadic. She's just kind of
she's a psycho.
Yeah, she is raging and raving and talking about wanting to find Picard, wanting to find Jack, and wanting to know who all of Picard's dear friends and family are, so that they can exact vengeance. But I got a few things out of that scene. So for me, that was where I thought, oh, okay, she's definitely a changeling, because she's talking about her brothers and sisters that are suffering at the Federation, right? So I don't know how you guys felt about that, but I totally took that as confirmation. Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah. I think we had this discussion before on previous reviews, and I think we even talked about this on the first review you did with us, Jenny, where is she a changeling or is she not? Like this whole idea of this changeling thing coming out of her arm kind of hinted to me that she might be, but we still really hadn't confirmed that yet. There hadn't been any, I think, real outward declaration that she was, but this kind of sealed it for me. I'm like, all right, she's got to be a changeling. My question came out of it though, is why the scars on her face? And then I started to think, well, what if it's like that because maybe she doesn't revert to a gelatinous state or liquid state. Maybe they've done something to keep her permanently in a physical state, kind of like what happened with Odo, like where they made him a solid, right? When he killed the changeling, and then the Great Link judged him and they made him a solid with internal organs and everything. Maybe in this case, she's kind of, I don't know, say stuck, but maybe she's kind of in this human form. And that's why she has the scars or the lines. We still haven't been told why. That's just speculation on my part.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. She's very much like a very unhinged character to me when I see her, right? She one of her minions is taken out right there on the bridge, and she's like all about wanting to burn the Federation to ashes and like exact her vengeance. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm interested in her minions because like if they're changelings, why are they in the form that they're in? If they're not changelings, why are they with her? And they definitely seem to be expendable. She is absolutely unhinged, but also seems to have some level of her own kind of motivations.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, so we know they're changelings now, right? We know that most likely, Vatic should be a changeling.
Yeah.
We know the changelings, that's a thing, that they're the bad guys and all this stuff. I'm wondering if in the last 4 episodes, if we ever see the Jem'Hadar, or if those things that are on Vatic's ship with her, if that's kind of like the new creatures that are being used as subjects, as cannon fodder for the changelings, master plan. Now, we haven't seen them in the same sense we saw the Jem'Hadar. They were used as soldiers, as cannon fodder. These are more like flying around the ship with her or controlling the ship or whatever. But I kind of wonder, like, okay, is this like the changelings new, they're not, I don't want to say kind of brunt force, but there is a scene where Riker gets taken and he's like, "Oh, look at you," or whatever, like this big one, it's kind of funny. So I have the same curiosity about these creatures too. We don't know what they look like. They look like they're wearing some sort of, I don't know, mask or cover over there. I don't know that that's their face. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it doesn't look like it's their face. I don't know.
Maybe it's this just thought came to my mind. Maybe it's maybe they are in their kind of liquid form, and that's kind of a suit that they can have for their changeling bodies. What I'm thinking. That just yeah. Zach and Jenny, did you catch the name of the next episode that's going to come next week?
No. Was it?
Yes.
Where was that at? Was that at the end of the credits or something?
I think it was maybe the Ready Room. Maybe they talked.
Yeah.
Maybe it was at the end of the Ready Room because Zach. Yeah, I have to tell you because you're gonna love the name of it, Zach. Because you brought up the Jem'Hadar. The name of the next episode is called The Dominion.
Oh. That is music to my ears. That's gonna make me cry. Okay, hang on. That's gonna. Maybe we'll get the Jem'Hadar then. Will we get the Vorta? That would be fantastic too if we get the Jem'Hadar and I don't know. I mean, they were kind of pawns and servants of the regular founders, the regular changelings and the Great Link. This is supposed to be some rogue, group of changelings. So I'm curious to see how that plays into Dominion now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I'm going to probably pass out halfway through our review here. Hang on. Let me collect myself.
They said in the Ready Room that they have a guest for next week that they can't say who it is because just saying who it is too much of a spoiler.
If it's Jeffrey Combs, that means we're getting the Vorta. Could you imagine? We just saw Jeffrey Combs down in LA. And that means he would have been keeping a secret. Of course, he'd have to because he signed the NDA.
Yep.
But that would be my guess. I don't know if you guys have a guess on it, but I would guess Jeffrey Combs because everybody's going to immediately know Weyoun, right? I mean, we get like Weyoun number 10 or something. That would be fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That would be.
Sorry.
No,
I'm going to mute myself and do a lap around my room and collect myself here for a second. All my DS9-ness is coming out.
Hold it together, Zach.
I'm trying, Chris. I'm trying. I got to collect myself here. I got to practice that Vulcan meditation.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. There you go. And so the next scene, I want to talk about this a little bit. So because we go to Picard and Beverly like together, right? And they're talking about Jack and kind of the revelation about Jack. But I want to acknowledge just the beautiful the set design and the visual effects again, because you see, I think it was close here. You see the Titan and it's in front of this red star, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful kind of image it was there. So much, we hadn't seen those in the first 2 Picard seasons. And I thought, oh, this is just really, really pretty. But we learned something critical about Jack. That See, I've got
What exactly did you learn about me from this, Chris?
about Jack. Well, I learned that you're excited about the Dominion possibly coming into the Picard. So we learned that today.
How could you not be? How could you not be excited about that, right? If you were a Star Trek fan, even if DS9 is not your favorite series, and you're a Star Trek, how could you not be excited about the idea of the other parts of what you would consider the Dominion coming in? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. But the revelation about Jack, Jenny, what did you think?
I wasn't surprised because there is that history there. I am interested. I'm not convinced that I don't know. The John Wickiness of it all kind of still like I still have a question mark about that. But I was interested in the idea that Aromatic Syndrome is inherited.
Yeah.
Because of what they dealt with Picard's mother in season 2.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was actually like a really interesting sort of spin on, them talking about her mental health issues and that they couldn't find treatment.
Yes.
And maybe that was partially the cause of her problems. Anyway, I thought that was just, and just thinking about that sort of getting passed down and then passed down again.
Oh, that was wonderful. I did not even think about that, of connecting it to Picard's mother. Oh, that's excellent. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, I definitely did. That's really great. See, folks, this is one more reason why Jenny's on with us, because she brings such great insight and she connects the dots in the way that certainly my brain does not connect them. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. I tried to block out most of season 2 of Picard from my mind, other than the few good moments there at the end with Q and things like that. No, in all seriousness, no. There was never mention in TNG. Like, I think there was an episode right where Picard goes back, tries to make amends with his brother, right, and everything like that. They don't ever mention anything about his brother or his nephew having Aromatic Syndrome, right?
No.
Okay. No. So it wasn't. Picard had it. He obviously inherited something from his mother, and he passed it along down to Jack. And his mother had visions of stuff, right? She had these, so it kind of connects the dots and would make sense in that regard. And I didn't put those two together. I'm not good with public math, so 2 + 2 is not actually 4. So that's a really good point, though. No, I didn't put those two together. That was great.
Yeah, that is yeah, I have to say that is an excellent point. I'm kicking myself for not thinking about that earlier. It's like, oh, why didn't I think about that? But that was good. But one of the things I liked about this, you see Picard, because it's kind of heavy. It's heavy on Picard, knowing, oh, okay. I mean, he just found out, right? He's a father like a minute ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now just finds out that the diagnosis for Jack is, it's a terminal diagnosis over time, and that is passed like from him. So like that has got to weigh on him quite a bit. And Beverly's reaction, I think, was quite a bit different. Beverly, of course, is caring, but she's also a doctor at the same time, and kind of thinking about kind of the pragmatic help that she could give to Jack there. But I like the next scene that I'm curious about how you both thought. The scene because we go to the holodeck, right, and we see Jack there, kind of consoling himself with drinking at the holodeck, and we see Picard come in to kind of talk to him there. Really interesting exchange, I think, an important exchange there. But how'd you feel about that? I'll start with Zach first, and how'd you feel about it?
Let me back up 1 second to what you're talking about, because I don't think the Aromatic Syndrome explains the voices that Jack hears, though, right? The help me, follow me, whatever it is, connect us, or something that he hears. I don't think that explains it, unless that's part of the syndrome where he's just hearing random voices. I don't know. It certainly goes back to this idea of, is he mentally stable? I would argue he's not, just based on what we've seen up thus far. I could be swayed, but I think that I don't think he's mentally stable, just based on the news we've gotten. That being said, the holodeck scene, I found it really interesting. I think this is where we started to see Jack kind of opening up to Picard a little bit, starting to maybe let the barrier down slightly, connecting with his father on a certain level. I thought that was great. And I saw you wrote this down here, Chris, where he says he's not crazy, just broken.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty powerful line there too.
Mm-hmm.
Where he understands that he's something's messed up, and he doesn't feel like he's nuts. There's something broken, something going on that he can't really figure out what it is or why it's happening. Or maybe he knows and we just haven't been told that yet. But very, very I think a really important episode or important scene, because you're starting to see maybe some of the relationship between Picard and Jack evolving just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Jenny?
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's scared, so there's still a little bit of kind of like a little lashing out happening, but he doesn't just have a big wall up and he's punching from behind it, he's actually saying what he feels.
Yeah.
Even though it isn't necessarily the nicest thing for Picard to hear.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And what could Picard say, right? Jack asks, right? Jack asks some questions. So, I mean, Jack's coming at it from just met his father. And then I'm sure there's some frustration and a little bit of anger there. He's like, why do I have this, right? Oh, he can kind of point to Picard like, oh, you're the one that passed on this trait to me. And so that's Picard is a little bit of a direction that he can direct his anger to. So really, really kind of interesting there. And he asks him like, how did you survive it? How did you survive it? And then Picard's answer was, well, I didn't.
That was great.
Right. So I thought that was great. That was great.
Yeah. Didn't Jack make that off the cuff comment about, oh, that's right, cybernetic or whatever the term was that he used?
Positronics.
Yeah, positronics. That's right. Yeah, basically signify, hey, you're not really human anymore. Your body's not human, I should say.
Yeah. Zach, I think you're right too. I'm not sure that the Aromatic Syndrome would explain those voices in his head, right? Connect us. Because yeah. Go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah, it's like it could, because they said that hallucinations, or it could, but I don't know if it does, like Beverly's pretty sure she's got it taken care of, but does she? Like, did that make him be able to fight like that and take out those 4 guys? Like, is that a side effect of Aromatic Syndrome? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's still some skeletons in the closet when it comes to Jack that we don't know yet. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a huge part of me that really, really hopes he's not a changeling. I don't think he is, but all this talk about how the changelings can basically be anybody and look like anybody because of the fact that they can, reproduce blood that has no DNA, and the organs and all that stuff. And with his visions and what he hears, man, I really hope he's not a changeling. I would be actually really disappointed if that was the case, because all this buildup, right, being Picard's son and the relationship being sort of started or built on, or whatever you want to call it, man, I hope he's not a changeling.
I don't think he will be. I agree with you that
I hope not.
Right. Yeah, there's so much there that I wouldn't think he'd be a changeling either. I figure like if anyone would know that he's a changeling, it's gotta be Dr. Crusher. Right? So yeah. It's
just a part of me in the back of my brain that's like, please don't be a changeling. Please don't be a changeling. Like maybe there was a Jack Crusher, and then but then again, if he was a changeling, why would he be popping up for Aromatic Syndrome?
Yeah.
Good point.
So I'm not saying he is or that I want him to be. I do not. I'm just saying there's a part of me that's just hoping that's not actually the case.
Yeah.
So shortly after that, we get 7 notifying Admiral Picard that the visitors are here. So we get to see them come in, and I thought it was I want to get Jenny's reaction first and how she thought. So we get this great introduction of our 2 important people, Warf and Rafi, come in. And how did you feel? How'd you feel with that coming in?
it's just every time you get another piece to the puzzle, it's just like it's just the best, you know. And Beverly giving him the unreciprocated hug was great. You know? And I just you know, and Riker being like, oh, you know, he's not a hugger. It's just
Hugger. Yeah.
yeah, it's so nice seeing, like, we got little glimpses in TNG of them, of their friendships and of their, but there was, I don't know, there's a comfort with them all that's so obvious, and it's just really lovely to see. Like, I just love looking at them, you know, like they're just they're my family, you know?
Yeah.
Like, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's the reunification of the family. Zach,
Mhm.
how'd you feel?
Yeah, it felt really great to see them. I think you put it perfectly there, Jenny. Like pieces of the puzzle coming together. As an artist, right? I would have to imagine, in some sense of the word, you have to be a bit of a completionist, right?
Oh yeah.
Kind of what you do, right?
Yeah.
So this episode, I believe we complete the puzzle in this episode, right? Up to this
Mhm.
point. So but seeing Worf come in and the joke, I don't remember the specific wording of, but the joke about the Picard's wine or whatever, was by Worf was epic. I mean,
Yeah.
Doug Drexler, when we've had him on, mentioned about Michael Dorn's great comedic timing and Worf's the comedy of Worf being very
Mhm.
understated, and yet it can't be overlooked.
Oh yeah.
And it Worf's humor in this episode definitely takes you back to TNG and the
Yeah.
movies. I mean, his some of the best Worf humor in my opinion was in Star Trek Insurrection, right?
Yeah.
When when Riker gets on the turbo lift and he's got that huge Klingon pimple on his nose or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Data tells him what it is, and Riker's like, "Boy, you don't do anything. You Klingons don't do anything small, do you?" Or whatever, and just like Worf getting all frustrated, and he's
Yeah.
like a kind of like a teenager, right? Getting acne or something like that. I think it
Mhm.
was. So Worf's humor is great in this, and to see Beverly hug him and him be like, don't hug me, don't hug me," it's great to see you, Admiral and Captain, and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
yeah, I thought it was great, Chris. I thought that scene was fantastic.
I really like you feel like when Riker and Worf are in the same room, you feel like they're kind of brothers and they're kind of always jabbing at each other, right? So
Yeah.
Riker's always jabbing at Worf, and then sometimes Worf will jab back. So
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And Worf's entrance where Picard says, yeah, it's something like, it's been a while since I've seen you. And Worf comes back, he's like, yeah, it's been 11 days, so many months and so many days. Or 11 years, so many months,
Yeah.
so many days. Like,
Yeah.
he's very precise. I'm like, yeah, that's Worf, and he makes reference
Mhm.
to the sour mead that he gets from the Admiral on occasion. That was great.
Yeah, that was, oh gosh, Worf's humor is fantastic. And
Mhm.
honestly, if you think about it, right? I mean, Riker and Worf pined after the same woman back in the
Mm.
day, right? Deanna.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah.
Riker won, obviously. But yeah, I think some of that jabbing goes back to that. Their relationship is gone through a lot, and
Mhm.
they came out the other side as friends, and that interplay is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's some additional humor there with Rafi and Seven kind of acknowledging and
Yes.
connecting again there. Yeah, what'd you think about that, Jenny?
I think it's great. They've got really, really good chemistry. They're, at this point they're quite awkward with each other, but you can see, Rafi's just sort of like, she wants to see her, and it's very, they're not done, you know.
Yeah, yeah, they're not done. I like Seven's reaction when Rafi asked something like, "Hey, how have you been?" And Seven said, "Well, if you mean like me still being alive after what we've just been through, I guess I'm okay." It was something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that was excellent. I really like the next scene because it kind of goes into this strategy meeting with everyone, and I
Yes.
felt like, oh, okay, this is cool strategy meeting. Um they're talking about what plans to do next, but it took me back to those, if you remember those kind of strategy meetings we'd always have in TNG, where
Oh
there's a
yeah.
there's a conference to decide the next step. I thought Worf and Rafi did a great job kind of outlining what was needed in Daystrom Station, and their kind of ordeal getting the key to being able to get into Daystrom Station, and the circumstances that were there, and the summary of the Dominion War, Zach. Yeah, I thought
Yes.
Warf did a great job with that. We kind of get introduced that, hey, something's going to happen with Frontier Day, and it's coming up. And we've got to get into Daystrom Station to figure out what is the cause of what's the kind of root cause of everything that's going on. And a little bit to see how you guys felt, and the introduction that Daystrom Station has a lethal AI, and we've got to be like really, really careful about that. So don't know if you guys had any thoughts at that time about what that lethal AI was going to be, but what did you think?
At that point, I was thinking, all right, this is where Moriarty comes in some capacity.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was thinking that it just sort of made sense, even just looking at like what we'd seen of him in the trailer and the background that they showed us, just when Raffi was talking about the about Daystrom Station, just like the lights and stuff. It just sort of made me think of the scenes that we saw with him. Yeah, so that's just where I went with it. And I was like, okay, he's it. They're gonna have to like solve a puzzle or like, defeat him somehow.
Gotcha. I don't think I had thought about that at that time. Yeah, nice. Zach.
Yeah. I actually thought of something good this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Moriarty too. I would say my initial thought was Skynet. No, I was thinking that would be kind of cool, right? To cross the crossover event. Anyways, yeah, Moriarty, because at this point we're like, okay, when's he coming in, right? How much of Moriarty are we going to get? How do they tie him into this? We know he's in the show because they spoiled it in the very early trailers for season 3 of Picard before the first episode was ever out. So it's not like him being in this episode was some kind of massive spoiler, right? We knew it was coming. It was chatted about all over the place. So that was my initial thought. I wasn't thinking who it actually ended up being. But I think you were right on there, Jenny, that was my initial impression was Moriarty.
Same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every once in a while I'll be onto something, but yeah.
You guys on the same page. That's
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I love Picard's use of, hey, we have to go burgle the station, and kind of the reactions there.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd ever used that word before.
No, there's a few words that Picard's never used before that he says in this series, right? I mean,
Yeah, it was great. I got so Daystrom Station, when I was thinking about it, it's huge. It's a huge place because, you see Daystrom Station, but they give it the sense of scale. Like later when they bring those starships into orbiting Daystrom Station, and you really get the sense of, oh, that's a enormous place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but there's the Daystrom Station kind of set piece there. There's also the Fleet Museum kind of the set piece there. They kind of represent kind of very, very different parts of Starfleet. Each individually, right? Yeah. So it was nice that they had those both in this episode. And we've got our team. Now we've got our team of the away team that's going to go to Daystrom Station and burglar the place. So Warf, Raffi, and Riker. And I like that. Okay. Because I really like it when they've established the team and they've got Warf, Riker, and Rafaela going to go beam on Daystrom Station. And Zach, anything that you really liked about that exchange that happened there?
Right as they're getting ready to beam out. Yeah. So, I think that this line was in one of the trailers, but now that you see the whole scene, it's really funny where Warf says something effective. Oh, I'm a pacifist now. And Riker looks over and he goes, oh, great. We're all going to die or something like that. Like that was the Riker and Warf interplay comedy, right? It's That to me was a really, really funny moment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, Jenny?
Yeah, I mean, Warf is just killing these scenes, like, and Seven comes with him to the transporter room, and he's like kind of seeing them being awkward, and I too have gone on away missions with lovers, and you know and it's just, yeah, he's just hilarious. Like,
I love that. Yeah.
It's like Worf was like, well, now that there's the awkward silence monkey, let me break the silence here, and say something. Yeah.
Yeah. I love his phrase, like, yeah, oh, good. He's like, he gets relieved. Good. Because I was practicing deceit. Like, yep, that's Worf.
Oh, this whole episode, there were so many Worf zingers.
Oh yeah.
Were there not? I mean, my gosh.
Yep. Captain Riker. Yeah, he says Captain Riker. And he's like, why are you calling me Captain?
Yeah, call me Will. Or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That was good.
And speaking of Riker, it was very nice to see Riker leading an away team. So awesome.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, like how many old crappy ships did he transport onto with this little palm beam? I think the palm beam was the only thing we were missing.
Oh yeah.
The palm beacon, yeah.
That's right.
I don't know how you guys felt about this, but I got the sense that so you know how Riker was in the previous episodes, near the previous episodes at the beginning of the season. So this was before he kind of made up a little bit with Troy, and before his brush with death and the rebirth in the nebula. I felt he was a lot more like a weight or a release had been lifted off of his mind. I felt like
Agreed,
he was much more, he was back to himself, and he felt himself. So now that I reflect on that, I'm like, yeah, it seemed like a weight had been lifted. He was able to get that weight lifted. So I really like that. And the humor between him and Worf was awesome.
Yeah, he was he certainly was almost like a Jekyll and Hyde, right? Like he's very much more serious, even so to the point where he like basically chews out Picard and tells him to get off the bridge, which is something that he probably never would have done before, right? In that situation. And talking about how you've killed us all. I mean, you could tell he was struggling really badly.
Yeah.
And then that whole thing where he talks with Deanna, and like you said, Chris, he kind of gets that weight off his shoulders. It's almost like, here comes the Will Riker that we know, right? The kind of the jokester a little bit, right? Like, he can be serious, obviously, but he has his lighthearted side and his interplay with Worf, and kind of just taking charge and go. I mean, it's great to see the Will Riker we know come out now that weight's been lifted. So that's a good point you made there, Chris, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see more of that, like Will Riker we know, like on Daystrom Station for sure, because there's more jabs like between he and Worf, which is great. And so they get on Daystrom Station. They get to use the key. There's that initial security at Daystrom Station that they're able to get through. But you also have they get stuck there because as they beam down, right, then those other starships came, and now they're threatening the Titans. So the Titans got to leave, and it's got to leave the away team there. And you hear Picard kind of notify Riker, say, "Hey, we've got to go, but I've got a plan, and I plan to be back. Try and be back in an hour or something like that, because they've got an hour."
Yeah.
And so I thought that was great. And then like shortly after, you have Riker saying, "Admiral, you there? Captain, are you there?" And like, oh, guess we're on our own. So so they do that. So that was nice. So
yeah, doesn't Worf say something to the effect of like, "Oh, they're not there anymore"? Some kind of like little quip real quick, that's kind of funny too. Yeah,
he does. Yeah, he does. Worf is master of the obvious.
Oh my God. Yeah.
No, I would. Yeah, he's master of the obvious, and he's master of the understated too, right? He'll say something as if it's very understated for something that's actually not, right? I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, his humor is just spot on.
Yeah. So I gotta talk about this humorous piece, and I want to get you guys' reaction too. So the funniest parts I loved about the Riker and Worf were so Riker says, "We're gonna need some of that good old Klingon offense," and And Worf's like, I'm a pacifist now. And then when they're on Daystrom Station, Riker's like, I don't know what world I'm living in now, or I don't know the world I'm in anymore. It's
I don't
awesome.
understand the world anymore.
It's like, well, yeah, of course, Will, because now we have this like Star Trek multiverse thing going on, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, I want to get your guys's, because I know this is huge. I want to get your guys' reaction. So we're on Daystrom Station. They're exploring Daystrom Station, seeing a whole bunch of things. What did you, Jenny? What did you think?
Like, I mean, I didn't even sort of like clock the first thing. I just, because at that point I was like, oh, wait a minute, that was I was just like, okay, I missed something, I have to go back for that. And then Riker goes around the corner and there's the Genesis device. Just like,
You're like,
like
oh,
this is next level. Okay, this is
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is very, I would have loved to have been able to walk around in that set and just like look in every little window. Because man, like, and I want to say his name right, but I'm not sure. So Yerk Hildebrand is on he's on Twitter, and he was a consultant on the season, and he's been sort of, as the episodes have been airing, he's been doing deep dives on some of the Easter eggs. So over the last couple of days since the episode aired, he's been putting up little close-ups on more of the Daystrom stuff that we didn't see. There's a lot of stuff in there. Like,
oh my
Really?
a lot of stuff in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
One thing that we definitely didn't see, but did exist, is there was one self-sealing stem bolt.
I saw a picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
From DS9?
Yeah.
stem
Like
bolts?
it was just, I mean,
Oh.
that was like a literal like Easter egg. Less of an actual
Oh.
history thing and more of just a straight up like, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
so-
the DS9, it's just like the overload of DS9 stuff is just
Oh, yeah.
it's like this quasar explosion of awesomeness.
Yeah.
yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's
Some
gonna-
other things like the probe from the Inner Light, from Catan, from that
Wait, that was down there?
I didn't
yeah.
see that.
I
That was there?
Again, that was another one. He's showed some ones that either didn't get on screen or just kind of.
Oh, they didn't make the cut, maybe. or
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
fast.
And I'm just
Yeah,
throwing
okay.
these out like
Yeah.
because I know we've got some much bigger fish to fry here. So.
Mm,
No, these are great.
That's
I love
good.
the tribbles.
Oh my
Those
god!
were
yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
to have back.
That was perfect.
Yeah, and the reaction by Worf and then the comment by Riker
Oh, yeah.
was epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So do you have any, Zach, do you have any shocking moments, like any pauses as you went through? Screen pauses?
Yeah.
As you went-
Oh, yeah. No, well,
Yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
yes and no. I did, but I had to go back
Mhm.
and just for that this part of the episode, I went back and tried to like, freeze frame it for those who used to be VHS watchers back in the day, freeze frame the things. So I don't know if this was on screen. Maybe this was another one of those deep Easter eggs you
Yeah.
mentioned, Jenny, but apparently the Borg Queen remains were on there as well.
Mhm.
I don't remember seeing that on screen, so I don't think that was on screen.
I think it was behind Worf and Raffi in a shot.
Yeah,
but,
so you
but
couldn't
far
see-
enough back. Yeah.
Couldn't read it. Yeah, but the
Yeah.
Borg Queen remains were there. The Tribble we mentioned. The one that had me scream at my TV and point, not scream like in a bad way, like but like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they had Captain Kirk's freaking body. What the heck? They had Captain Kirk's body from Viridian 3.
Yeah.
From Generations. Like they exhumed his body, which we all know that was the dumbest, stupidest way they could have killed Kirk off. I mean, that's a whole nother, we could do an entire Random Redshirt podcast episode on the way Kirk died.
Mhm.
But they had freaking Captain Kirk's body on Daystrom. Like, I don't know why it was there, if they were just keeping it preserved or something, because no one's gonna, it's not like it's on display at a museum for people to walk by and go, oh, hey, look, it's Captain Kirk. You know, it's not like taxidermy where they taxidermied his body up, but now he's like posed, standing somewhere for everybody to see. But that was to me was the biggest one. I felt like that had the biggest impact, was seeing Kirk's body there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you pick
There's
up
one
on the
there's one at the end of the episode we can say for the very end as
Okay.
well, but I won't mention that right now. But
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to remind me. Yeah, when we get to that one, I definitely want to know because I don't think I remember. Did you guys pick up on some of the musical cues, like as they went past those chambers at Daystrom Station?
Yep.
A little bit, but what did you pick up?
Yeah, there was some, like, especially with Captain Kirk's.
Yes,
when we
that I definitely got.
Yeah, I definitely got that too, and maybe they had some with the Genesis device, and then there was something when they approached we're not, we'll get to it, but when they approached the Fleet Museum, there's some musical cues as they approached that from the Star Trek films. So I thought that was really, really, really great. Yeah, it was excellent. This was excellent. Yeah. Go
I
ahead,
was just gonna say, I love the intermixing of all the musical interludes in these episodes, because it's just, I mean, we all know, right? Some of the greatest moments in movie and television history, whether it's science fiction or otherwise, are given an extra bit of impact because of the musical scores, right? Like, for things like, just for example, right, when like Jurassic Park, right, that opening music when the helicopter's flying onto the island, if there was no music at all, it would just be, okay, cool, helicopter's flying in, right? You know, or pick any moment in Star Trek, right, with some of the music. I mean, the music adds that extra oomph to an impact to a moment in a scene. Like some of the stuff you even paint, Jenny, right? I mean, there's musical interludes to those where you're painting it and you're probably hearing the music in your mind as you're painting it, because the music is so massive. I mean, why do you think John Williams has been so acclaimed? I mean, look at all the impact he's done with his musical scores, whether it's been Star Wars, Jurassic Park, there's a million other things too, but there's so much, and that music is incredible. And the music to me is what brings the emotional connection.
Yeah. I mean, I've been exploiting that, quite honestly, in my social media, because when I at one point was just using whatever songs were kind of trending, and I would show a painting and people would like it. And then I started using the actual music from the shows and movies. Like, people have a visceral reaction. You know, it's the sense memory attached to it, especially when it's music like this that's coming from something that we're so attached to. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think Oh, go ahead, Zach.
No, I was just gonna say, and you think of like Star Trek, right? And when you see an image or a video shot or a scene from a series or a movie, and then you hear the music with it, it's a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking about Star Trek right now, right? So Star Trek induces so much emotion and impact in so many people, and it's affected so many people in so many different ways, and so has the music. And so when that music hits, it's that emotional response to that image or that scene, and that music is so important. And obviously Terry was so brilliant for weaving that in. They could have just had some random musical scores that they had composed for this season and whatever. It just would have been some background music to help carry and build the drama of a particular scene. But no, he went in and mixed in other stuff, and it's like that really, I feel like, brings everybody together, because you have people from all different walks of life who like all different parts of the Star Trek franchise. Everybody has probably their favorite, right? You know, it's just common human nature for you to have kind of your favorite part of the Star Trek franchise. So it brings everybody together, right? People like myself who just completely gush over Deep Space Nine, and they see the things. When you have people who gush over TNG or gush over Voyager or Enterprise or whatever, it just kind of all brings it together, and it's incredible.
Yeah, actually, Jenny, Zach, that was beautiful. I think it is important to recognize how well that they used the music in Picard season 3, right? Because it was, and this kind of for me, this kind of connects to the other themes that they do in this episode. So not only do we hear thematic music we hear it from Voyager, we hear it from Deep Space Nine at parts, we hear it from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, from TNG. We also hear it from Star Trek: The Voyage Home. That's in there too. All of these
Yeah.
kinds of throwbacks are there, but I think it is just it is beautiful that they did this, and I think that there's um, they've brought all of those in to make it into an even bigger whole.
Mhm.
And then the evolution of those musical themes has come in and make this really special. And like you guys said, they evoke really special memories in people that are dear, dear, dear to them. So when they see this, they are immediately taken back, and I know really, really appreciate it. So I'm
Mhm.
glad. Um, and Worf, don't forget, Worf gets his music. Worf gets
Yes.
his Klingon kind of theme in there too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Are you talking
Yeah.
about the Klingon opera?
Oh, he does
Or
have
just the,
Klingon. Yeah, he does have Klingon opera. Yeah, we see that with when he's practicing his his kind of Klingon battle
yeah,
content.
okay.
But
Okay. Yeah, yeah. But the
but
other like dramatic Klingon music, right?
yeah, he's got the
Yeah.
dramatic Klingon music whenever he comes on screen. So that was
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
But since we're still on Daystrom Station, with keep on with the Daystrom Station,
Yeah.
we'll talk about those scenes, which will be great. So as they make their way through the station, then we are introduced, like you said, the lethal AI of Moriarty that's there. And I thought that was great that he came up, and then the Crow came in. So honestly, I had forgotten about the Crow.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you guys had remembered the Crow, but Riker says something familiar about a crow. I didn't even remember what that was.
I until I saw it, I hadn't thought about it really at all, but I saw it and I was like, hang on. That's like that's the Dream Crow.
Nice.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
mentioned that you had just finished a rewatch
Yeah.
of TNG, so it was really fresh, right?
Yeah. And I've also I've watched it a lot.
Oh yeah.
I've watched it a lot.
I mean, why wouldn't you? It's TNG, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, no, I didn't connect the dots at all on the Crow thing. So that's twice now you're gonna pull somebody's gonna pull my Trekkie card.
Oh, I didn't remember.
But yeah, I did not connect the dots on that at all, Chris. The Crow. That was it. I loved the so well, I don't know if I'll say this because I don't want to steal your thunder here, Chris, but I loved the flashbacks to early TNG, right? Where I believe this is Riker's first meeting
Yeah.
with Data. And so I think he starts to connect the dots of everything, and the Crow and
Yeah.
the music, and yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I love they actually showed flashbacks from TNG versus just kind of talking about it.
Yeah. And it was gorgeous.
It
Like,
I
was.
mean, oh gosh. The Blu-ray, like the remastering of
Yeah.
TNG was so amazing. It sucks that DS9 and Voyager may never get it or won't get it anytime soon, but
Mhm.
and I know like the reason why is because they didn't make enough money on the sales of the Blu-rays, but the TNG looks absolutely stunning when it's been remastered.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I honestly in the last rewatch, I finally did watch the remaster, and in particular the shots of the Enterprise in space, like I felt like I could touch it. Like I felt like it was just sorry, I'm like off topic, but I'm just like I can't.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Oh God, it was good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These were really good moments for Riker, right? 'Cause, I mean, he would have been the only one to recognize, right? So he's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So he's hearing these musical tones like come in through, and he's like, "Where have I heard this? Where have I heard?" And you see him thinking about where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And his recognition, like, hey, there was this moment, and I had a dear friend that did this, and he's able to solve that. So I thought really beautiful moment, and kind of recognition of like who Riker is as a person right there. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but that definitely engaged me. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he also was very quick to realize that Moriarty wasn't our Moriarty. He wasn't the fully sentient, that he was more the character.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a
which
good point.
again, kind of made me go, if he's not that Moriarty, where is he coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they make it. We'll stay on Daystrom Station. Do they make it to the vault? And then we get the reveal of like who's in there, what is the computer that has the or where is the manifest contained in. So there we go. There's this huge reveal from that. What did you guys get? What did you feel? Mind blown? Mind's blown?
Yeah, like I had no, number one, I was expecting lore.
Oh.
So I went into this with zero expectation about Data. So when it became clear what this is, like, it's so exciting. Like, it's just so exciting, so unexpected. Alton's speech was lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
Man, and just Brent Spiner, the just the physicality of him just being there was perfect. Please.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, I was wondering when we were actually going to get Lore to show up, right? Because I think we actually talked about that in our last episode review, episode 5. Go back and watch it if you haven't. It's fantastic. And I was wondering when Lore was going to pop in. And so this idea of there being a lore element to it was pretty cool. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't super shocked to see Brent Spiner there because I knew we had to get him soon. Where I was shocked was this idea of there being some aspect of Data, right? And I was kind of torn. I don't know how you felt in this, Chris, or how you felt, Jenny. I was kind of torn because we've already seen Data die twice, or at least we thought, right? You see him die in Nemesis to sacrifice himself for Picard on board the Riemann ship. Then we see him die at the end of season 1, which I know that's a whole soapbox for Chris. and the way that whole thing goes down. But I'm really torn, and I can save some of my thoughts for the end there on how I kind of feel about that. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what my initial thoughts were with this reveal and this part of the episode.
Yeah. I thought it was I thought the reveal that they set up, I thought this setting this up was great. And they thought, all right, if there's going to be a way to set up a return of Data, this is how you do it, right? Something like this or something similar. So I thought that was great. And I also thought that the speech, like you, Jenny, from Dr. Soong was beautiful because he talks about, a combination of what goes into that end, that being of him, of Data, of Lore,
of Lol.
Yeah, that was a great little like drop in there, right? That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So I really thought that. So after they are there and they discover Data, so the team, they've got to leave pretty quick because they're discovered by the security forces, and then they're on their way. And I really like it that it's Riker that decides, hey, I'm gonna buy you guys some time. I'm gonna go do that, and they're able to beam the others off. And unfortunately, Riker's captured, but that's Riker again, right? That's who he is. That's what he would have done. He would have sacrificed himself for those. So I really like that. That was great. Yeah. So that's Daystrom Station, and now we can kind of look at the other half of this beautiful scenes in this episode, which is the Fleet Museum. Fleet Museum on Alton Prime. As far as I know, this is the only. I haven't heard anything like a Fleet Museum on any other like Star Trek series or episodes. So this was beautiful. This was great to have, and we get the introduction of Commodore LaForge. So that was great. And what did you guys feel like seeing LaForge come on screen and that first sort of interactions there?
He's pissed.
Yeah.
Like he's not like, hey, what's up, guys? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like, you know, I mean, I was talking before about it's you know, seeing our heroes on their back feet, and once again it's sort of an unexpected response, you know, like it's not exactly necessarily, I mean, Picard definitely wasn't expecting him to be like, what, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't expect that at all. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I did not expect that from Geordi.
Yeah.
Zach, how did you feel?
Yeah, it was, I mean, that initial shot they show on the screen was fantastic. You see all those ships floating around. It was just enough to give you a little bit of a tease as to what might be out there. And you're like, wait, is that, and then they flash away because they're going to show more close-ups later. But seeing Geordi was cool. I love the idea of him being a Commodore because it's kind of a callback to TOS, right? We don't really get much Commodore in Starfleet throughout Star Trek. Most of the references to Commodores, I believe, are in TOS. There might be
TOS.
You'll have to remind me, Jenny, was because you just did a rewatch of it recently. Were there any Commodore references in TNG? I thought there might have been something early on, but I couldn't remember.
Not that I'm aware of, honestly. And I really do think it goes back to TOS. Like,
yeah. Which, I mean, you know, if you're trying to correlate, okay, you know, what's a Commodore versus an Admiral, right? I'm thinking, okay, Geordi's pretty much runs a fleet museum. It's like a station. So he's kind of, you know, he's a Commodore. Maybe the Commodores are more like station, you know, type leaders instead of admirals or something like that. There's probably somebody who's going to be watching this who will be able to say, oh, actually it's this, isn't this? So if you know what the difference between a Commodore and an Admiral is and why people are Commodores versus Admirals, please tell us in the chat below or hit us up on social media and let us know. Cause I probably knew at one point, but I've forgotten so much.
A Commodore is in between a captain and an admiral. It's definitely not an equal.
Oh, is it? Because he was wearing like a one pip as if he like you would see an admiral wear.
Yeah, except it's a different
shape.
Yeah,
that could be. But I thought it was cool. Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Jenny, where it's like, yeah, it's kind of awkward and getting our heroes in their back feet, which I think is a great way to put it. Yeah, I would just stand there. I'm like, scene seems slightly awkward, but let's see how it plays out and how this is gonna, you know, go moving forward. But
just as a little Easter egg, the Zephram Cochrane statue was on Geordi's desk.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, just a little tiny one. I mean, I know it because I saw the promo image, like a little more of a close up, and Dave Blass talked about it on the Ready Room, saying that it was Doug Drexler's sculpt. And I actually messaged Doug and I was like, oh my God, they just messaged you on the Ready Room. And he was like, oh man, that's not my sculpture though. That's just a 3D printed one. You can see the fractals. Like you can. You know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because he has the original one that was on Archer's desk from the actual Enterprise, the one on screen. He has the original one because it was his design, I believe.
Yeah, and then he put it up on Facebook and set the record straight.
Oh, he did. Good for him.
Yeah.
Doug will set the record straight. That's for sure. He will make sure that what you are getting is the correct answer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, speaking of Doug, we'll get there, but there's more.
There's more?
Yeah. There's another Doug Drexler Easter egg.
Yes, there is. Yes.
Episode.
I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
Oh, nice.
Because now it becomes canon.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Back to Geordi. Sorry.
I like that we get introduced to Geordi's other daughter, right? Alondra, who is kind of following in Geordi's footsteps as an engineer herself. And then that's kind of a nice interplay because we've got Sydney, who's not an engineer at the moment, right? She's a helms person, and so you kind of have those differences there. And you get to have Geordi and Picard kind of talk. I love when they beam. When Geordi and Alondra, they beam on the ship, right? And Geordi's he was like, I was debating whether to have a curt handshake or a awkward hug, and he went with the hug.
Awkward but long overdue hug,
long overdue hug, and that was great. And then he gets to when he's talking to Picard, he's like, "Oh yeah, we got to talk." And so then they go and they talk, and that was some nice moments there. I thought really important because Picard's essentially like, "We need your help. This is how we need your help." And Geordi's like, "Well, can't help you, and I want to help you, but I can't." And that's kind of the
Mhm.
right, kind of the conclusion of that specific interaction right there. I felt like I felt like Jenny, you were mentioned, like he seemed angry right at the beginning, and I
Mhm.
felt like this was weird. I was like, this isn't the Geordi. Like, how's Geordi like this now? This isn't what I
Mhm.
what I felt. I see how you guys. That was my immediate reaction there. I was like, we'll probably find out more about this, but that was me. How'd you
I
guys
I definitely it was weird. It was weird seeing him like that because he is so, historically like open and sort of, ready to help, and but he has a family. He's got a family. Um and I don't think it was mentioned in the previous two seasons of Picard, but I know it was in the book, in the novel that was like the tie-in
feel?
to the first season, that he was running the the fleet construction for the Romulan. What were they doing? They
Oh,
were evacuating them. Yes,
yeah.
for the evacuation. He was running that on Mars and was off world when the attack happened. So he survived the Mars attack.
Oh,
And that was what, 20 years earlier, roughly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So his girls would have been little at that point. They almost lost their dad. So the idea that he then went and worked at the Fleet Museum actually makes a lot of sense. That he was like, okay, step back, take care of my family. Um,
Yeah.
so I get why. And then having had that happen, having very likely lost a lot of friends, I can see where he's coming from in a level of like, I need to protect my family. I know what can happen. So I mean, having that information, that's what I took out of it, but it was still difficult, and it was really difficult watching Picard see, like, experience him rejecting him.
Yeah, that was great points. And like now they're both talking to each other, and okay, now they're both parents, right? So
Hmm.
so Picard is like this newly found parent, and Geordi makes a comment like, yeah, yeah, Picard, is just like you to have a son. Having a son is like an intergalactic incident, like you having a son. So I thought I was like, okay,
Hmm.
that probably makes sense. But Jordy's the one. Yeah, he's like, you put my daughter, now she's in danger, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that was very powerful, and that was good. Zach, I don't know if you had similar feelings
Hmm.
like as we did, but that's how I felt like, yeah, Picard's kind of in a there. I can understand Jordy's like frustration, Jordy's anger.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to the scene where Jack, I was brokenhearted for Jack when he finds out his dad only needs Starfleet as
Mhm.
his family. I don't think that many of the scenes that have affected me the way they have in Picard season 3 would have affected me this way if I didn't have kids. Like for me
Hmm.
personally, when I can 100% get behind Geordie's point where he mentions that he can't help because he's got to protect his family. He's got these
Yeah.
daughters and he needs to protect them, and he can't go out doing these things because if he does, they're going to come looking for him and his daughter. I think I would have the absolutely exact same position that he does, where it's like, nope, sorry, I've spent a lifetime saving the galaxy and helping, and I've been there and I've done all these things. And when I was, just me, uh, I I had no problem putting my life on the line. But now that I've got,
Hmm.
these kids and this family and everything, I can't do that anymore. So I can, at this point in my life, I can 100% see where he's coming from, right? As a dad, as a,
Yeah.
a father, as a husband. I can see that. And it's really interesting too, right? Because if we remember back to TNG, Jordy wasn't exactly the most, he had a little bit of awkward moments around women. He wasn't
Hmm.
exactly, ladies' man by any means. He was a little bit socially awkward around the ladies, you know, whether it's the holodeck dates that don't end well, or asking Guinan for, you know, advice with women, and Data trying to, I mean, Geordi was a little awkward around the ladies. And so it's great to see that he has a wife now and kids, and kind of overcame that, I guess, and found somebody to settle down with. So my reaction to this whole scene, Chris, is I'm right there with Geordi. I really am. I'm right there behind. I'm like, yep, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not endangering. It's one thing to endanger my own life. If it's just me, I'm not endangering my kid's life. Sorry.
Which makes complete sense, right? And it sets up one of the important kind of scenes of this particular episode, because shortly after, we've got this scene with Sydney and Geordi, like, and Sydney going, "Hey, why won't you help us?" She's asking her dad, "Why won't you help us?" And he's saying, "Well, you know, you guys are in trouble, and this is going to ruin your career and your safety, and you know how worried we were when you were gone." And so there's this dialogue between back and forth, and Sydney points out to him, she's like, "I'm only doing what you taught me to do, right? This is my family." And you see that look on Geordi's face, that recognition of his look, where now he's seeing Sydney not just as his daughter, he's seeing Sydney as this actualized human being that's trying to do the right thing for her crewmates and her family and the Federation, right? Do the right thing. So I think thematically in this episode that was great, and I think that's the pivotal moment for Geordi, right? To have him kind of come across, but that was great. That was great to have. But meanwhile, we oh, no. Meanwhile, we get to see the Fleet Museum. And Zach, yes, we get to see this. And we get there's a really nice, like, a quiet moment, right, between Jack and Seven, where they're kind of seeing what's on the Fleet Museum. So what did you guys think? Zach, you look like you're prepared.
No, Jenny, go ahead and go first, please. Please steal my thunder before I go off on some sort of, you know, Go ahead, Jenny.
I will talk about Seven and Jack for a minute. Just that part of it, and you go ahead with the rest of it. But I first of all, just Ed Spaliers, and I'm probably going to keep saying this, he has chemistry with everyone. Like, considering that this is a show that's bringing back all of these people that I haven't seen in 30 years, I am not upset when he's in the scene. You know what I mean? Like he's bringing a lot to the show, basically. And their interaction here is just really comfortable and nice. And you get a little more of a picture of who he is. Like, the idea that he's like, basically, like, he's like, not a car guy, you know? Like, I like ships, you know.
I love
like,
that. I'm a car guy, yes.
You know, like, I thought that was great, you know. And again, it's just really nice to see Seven talk about her past in a way that isn't sort of full of trauma, you know. Not that there isn't trauma there, but just that there is that part of her past that she really, that's really important to her and that she really treasures. So it was, that was a beautiful, beautiful moment. Her performance in that moment was just incredible, you know, like, puts you back on that ship.
That's right.
Speaking of ships.
Yeah, how far she's come. Seven.
Yeah, like,
she's come a long ways, right? She was assimilated as a child, as a Borg. Yeah.
And she's sitting on the bridge of a starship as a Starfleet officer looking at Voyager. It's wow, like,
yeah.
And just like, that was my home. That and the people on it were my family.
Beautiful.
Jenny, do you have allergies right now? Allergies acting up again?
Oh yeah, it's really early spring here in Nova Scotia.
Everything's blooming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's gray and brown out there. Anyway, go on.
Beautiful. Zach.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Zach. You know
Yeah.
you want to.
It's
all right.
Yeah.
What else happened in this scene?
We got a lot of ships. Got a lot of ships, a few in particular that melt the heart in more ways than one, I will say. I feel like that scene in that episode of Star Trek TNG where Data sits down in his chair and he goes, for my next rendition, I do this poem to my cat, Spot. It's called An Ode to Spot. I'm going to change this title, An Ode to the Defiant. Tough little ship you were, little. You fought the Dominion. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go on to some haiku here because people would turn this video off and unsubscribe from the Random Richard podcast. I won't do that. But this was amazing to watch. The ships that we got to see, the Voyager was glorious. We got to see the Enterprise A, the refit Kirk ship. Obviously, it wasn't the original Enterprise from TOS for various reasons, but it was the Enterprise A, the refit. We did see another Constitution class, and I'm trying to think of the name.
The
New
Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah. Okay. Yep. We got an original Constitution class, which I believe Jack says was his favorite. I think he said something to the effect of, I'm a Constitution class kind of guy or something like that. And they're just the clean lines and all this stuff, which I thought was really like a car guy, right?
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Like I love this, 57 Chevy or, whatever. Right. But there was one ship that stood out to me. One ship in particular. It was when I saw the Defiant pop on screen, I almost passed out. That was very much oh my gosh, pointed the screen and my wife in the other room going, can you keep it down in there? I was not born or blessed with an indoor voice. Anybody who knows me knows I'm very loud. And so I probably don't even need the microphone. You probably just hear me shouting through the computer monitor. But yeah, seeing the Defiant was just spectacular. Now, of course, we know it wasn't the first Defiant, right? The first Defiant was destroyed very early on against the Dominion when it went into the Gamma Quadrant looking for the founders, right? So we know that the next Defiant was actually renamed from the
Sao Paulo.
The Sao Paulo, yeah. So, but it's still the Defiant. I mean, it's the Defiant class, right? Originally designed and built to fight the Borg. It's then repurposed to fight the Dominion, which apparently is the name of the next episode. I gotta focus here. But yes, this pardon my language here, but many people have said this on the internet, including Doug Drexler, and they said this episode was full of ship porn. Like, if you love ships, this was the episode for you because it was just showing them all off, right? And what a better character to lead the Fleet Museum than Geordi. There was no other choice. This was such a perfect choice for this thing here. So I will stop my comments here, Chris, or I could be going on for an hour about this. So thank you for indulging me on this. It was so amazing. I love, I mean, obviously the Defiant owns a piece of my heart there, but seeing the other ships was amazing. And there were other ships in there. I believe there was an Akira class that was also in there as well. We did see a Klingon bird of prey, which we did not know which Klingon bird of prey it was or why it was there. Some people might have instantly thought of the HMS Bounty. Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She said that was
Bounty,
that was the one they pulled out of San Francisco Bay and it sunk and then they couldn't find it because the cloaking device reactivated or something, right? Which is kind of interesting how they found that out. But of course, I mean, the level of depth they go to in this and the Easter eggs they go to bring in the Klingon bird of prey from Star Trek, end of Star Trek 3, beginning of Star Trek 4.
Yeah, like
that they land in the bay of San Francisco Bay to bring that into this. I mean, or the self-sealing stem bolt, if I can speak to that. I mean, it just harkens back to the knowledge and love that
Mhm.
Terry Metalis and the rest of Denise and Michael Okuda and Dave Blass and Doug Drexler and the OG, the Star Trek royalty have for this franchise. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, when they started saying about how, oh, this was going to be a love letter to TNG this season, I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, it's just, you got to hype it up, right? No, it's a freaking love letter to TNG. It's a love letter to the whole damn franchise. And I freaking
Yes.
love it. It's just,
Yes.
I can't get enough of this. And, all right, I'm done.
Mhm. Well,
Good. Yeah.
and speaking of,
I feel better. Thank you.
speaking of that, yeah, because
Get it
it's
out.
not just
Yeah.
it's not just TNG, it's not just Voyager, it's not just Deep Space Nine. The other ship that was visible if you zoomed in was the Enterprise NX-01 refit
Yeah.
Yes.
Doug Drexler designed.
Yes.
That theoretically might have been the ship that they would have used if there had been a season 5.
Yes.
And they put it on screen and made it canon.
I think that's a testament to Terry. I really do. I really think
Yes.
that's because I mean,
Gosh.
yeah, he knows all that stuff, right? I mean, he's
Yeah.
known Doug for a long time and
Yeah.
he knows what Doug designed. And I think it's an awesome callback
Oh,
to Enterprise,
yes.
the show
Yeah.
that does not get enough love.
100% agree. Yep.
I think it's great. I hope that there is one day where Enterprise gets the full love it deserves, because it doesn't get enough of how great of a show it was, and to have that in there is spectacular.
Yeah.
I don't know, Chris, what were your thoughts about
Yeah.
seeing all these close-up ships? I want to hear Jenny too, but Chris, what about what stood out to you in this? I mean, there had to have been some sort of emotional response when you saw these different ships, right?
Yeah.
He
Okay.
doesn't know what to say. He's like,
No,
oh,
no, I do know what to say. So
it's overwhelming.
I'll just apologize. I apologize up front. So where I'm going to go with this. So
Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Like as I saw it, there were several simultaneous thoughts in my mind. So it was beautiful to see all of these ships and see the original Constitution class, see the HMS Bounty, see the Voyager, and see the Defiant was all wonderful because having that connection to all of the Star Trek family that has come before was meaningful. One of the simultaneous kind of thoughts that I had in my head was, and this is not how I feel, but it was just a thought of that I had at the time was, okay, this is wonderful, but was this absolutely necessary for the episode, or to advance what was going on, right? For our companions, to go on, was this absolutely necessary, or was this just a technique to be able to kind of highlight these ships and to have people that love Star Trek appreciate it and have some fan service for the fans? Was this a technique to be able to share this for the fans? So this was just a simultaneous kind of thought that was in my mind. This was not how I truly felt. But as I thought about what this episode as a whole means, and so I have to talk about this now because you asked Zach like how I felt about these ships, right? So what these ships meant. This episode was talking about family and about the traits that like a parent might pass off like to a child, and how they do it, whether it's bad or good, all of that. You have this evolution, and someone says the actual phrase evolution.
Yes.
And so when you have that phrase evolution, you see there was this juxtaposition of a original Constitution class ship, right? And immediately after that, you see the Neo Constitution class ship. So what this was it was also, and whether intentional or not intentional, but it was showing, hey, not only is like as individuals, as people, like as human beings, there's the trait that goes from parent to child and so on, but as designers and as creative people, as engineers, as artists, we take what is before us, what people have created, and we take that and we add it into this new beautiful creation after that, right? So you've got that original Constitution class juxtaposed with the Neo Constitution class, and how beautiful was that, right? You heard Doug say his favorite ship is the original Constitution, and then you have this for Doug in the same scene, the original Constitution class with the Neo Constitution class that he had a part of designing and creating. So how beautiful is that to have that like in this scene? So it's not just, it wasn't just, yes, you may have that simultaneous thought where people thought, oh, was this just for the fans, or this technique for the fans? But no, this is acknowledging that, hey, this is everyone that has created something before us. We take from that and we build something beautiful after that. And it's also acknowledging everyone that has been a part of creating the Star Trek world before us, Doug. And Doug has mentioned the creators that have come in after him, right? But he's taking, hey, we take from that and we build something like for the future. So that's where my thoughts were my concluding thoughts when I saw those ships, and I thought how beautiful that was.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Hodgson.
No.
That was fantastic.
It was.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. And
I didn't go that deep, sorry.
Yeah. That shot even goes on to land on the Titan. So it even just kind of it goes full circle. Just absolutely brilliantly done, I think.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, Chris, yes, it was necessary.
Yes.
And so that was number one. And B, it was absolutely fan service, I think. 100% fan service. And that's fine. I think that shows like this where there's so much nostalgia wrapped into it and they're calling back to so many things. I mean, all the Easter eggs and the callbacks are all fan service.
Yeah.
They don't have to put that stuff in, but they do because people like us freak out. People like us freak out when we see Captain Kirk's freaking body on Daystrom, or we see the Defiant at the Fleet Museum. I mean, it's or Voyager or the Enterprise. I mean, I think it just grabs you and pulls you in even tighter. It's all about the emotional connection. And
I feel some people
now.
Yeah, they will. Some people might criticize creation for just being fan service, right? They'll just say, hey, all that was fan service, and what are you doing? And that shouldn't be what all it is.
Right.
But that's why I think it's so important in this is to no, this is just not, yes, it was beautiful and that is meaningful for the fans, but look at where this is as a whole in terms of the themes that they're talking about in this episode. And like how much like meaning that means for not only the creators of the show itself, but the fans of the show, and for families and parents. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So we get okay. I love they're still around the Fleet Museum, and we get a little bit of more of Jack's personality, a little bit of his devious personality, which was great because at this moment, Geordi has said, "Hey, I'm not going to help you."
Yeah.
And Zach, you had talked about the HMS Bounty, and they realized, hey, the cloaking ship or the cloaking device is on there, and you've got Jack going, "Hey, are you guys?" And he talks to Alondra and Sydney. "Are you guys up for some minor larceny?" And so I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then you find out like, oh, he took the cloaking device, and I thought, oh, okay, that was great. And they're not able to successfully get the cloaking device integrated in, right? And then we've got then who comes in? Zach, who comes in to save the day?
The Titan, right?
no, to integrate.
Oh, to integrate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was having daydreams about the Defiant. So no, sorry. Geordi shows up in there, right?
Yeah.
To help out. Yeah, he's like, all right. Everybody hold your horses here. Like let the real guy step in and do this. Let me be the one that hot wires the cloaking device into the ship.
Yeah. That was
I loved when he you know, when he realized like when the cloak effect started happening and the cloak sound was just perfect.
Yeah.
But he's like, did you steal my, you know, and he's like accusing Picard, and Picard's like, hang on, no, you know, and then they both at the same time were like, the kids.
Yeah. I love the line in this scene where Sydney looks at Geordi and says, why do you think I wrecked all those speeders, whatever it was, when I was growing up, is so I could spend time with you putting them back together. That was a heartfelt, touching moment that I loved. I loved. And then Geordi's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. You know, he just kind of like, I didn't realize that, you know, but that was a very touching scene. Father, daughter, like, you know, a little bit of a kind of a rekindling, right? And that was awesome.
Yeah. As a little girl who grew up idolizing her father and following him around and holding his hammer, and they got me there. Yeah.
Got the feelers. That one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's special for sure.
I like Geordi's comment to Jack, stay away from my daughter.
Yeah.
That was good.
Hey, he did talk about protecting his family, right? And he's like, all right, I see the way you're eyeing my daughter, dude. Step back. That's what I've always told my daughter. I said, you can't date till you're 40 or I'm dead. One of the two. But anyways, I think that was fantastic.
That was good. So they get the cloaking device working, and now they're able to go and rescue the trio. So we've got Warf, Riker, and Rafi, and the new Data that's still on Daystrom Station. And like on the way, there's this really nice kind of moment between Jack and Picard then, right? So I liked that moment. Jack, he's providing some comfort to Picard in a way. But also saying, hey, I've got all these traits, these good qualities that have come from my mother, but then I've got these other qualities that I wondered where they came from before, and he's kind of acknowledging, and now I know they came from you. That was special to me. When I saw that, so I thought that was great.
Maybe I got some of the good bits as well.
Yeah.
That was.
Picard needed that. Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
I can't imagine
rough
being.
Go, man.
I was gonna say I can't imagine being in Picard's shoes or Jack's shoes, where you're just like, what is going on? How much has happened in the last? I mean, this is only over a few days, right? This isn't like this has been 6-month time span. This is only over just a fairly short period of time. That's a lot of emotional baggage to work through in such a short period of time for both of them.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say for all of the original TNG cast, right? They've all gone through all this. I mean, I know we didn't really spend a lot of time in our last review talking about Rose's death, right? At the end of that and the significance of that. I hate to say we kind of glossed over it, or I glossed over it. But I kind of did. And so I kind of look back, I'm like, I should have talked more about that. But you just look at all these characters they brought in, they're all going through a lot of emotional stuff that they've changed in so many ways over the last 20 years. And now they're having to deal with things in the past and in the moment. And it's a lot of emotional, stuff. I don't think, you think about a normal TV show, you don't normally think about this much emotional drama going through, but in a movie you might, right? It feels very theatrical in that regard. There's a lot more drama than I'm used to seeing being squeezed into a short period of time.
You know what? Go ahead, Jenny. No, Jenny.
I was just quickly. I think now I'm gonna cough. 1 second.
So, this parallel scene came up to me. I think at this moment, Zach, if I'm not mistaken, Picard knows that Riker's been captured. I think at this moment when Jack and Picard are talking.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so you've got this father-son talking. You've got this father-son moment right here with Picard and Jack. And I just thought about, if we remember, there's a moment in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, where you have Kirk. This is after Spock dies. You have David coming to Kirk, and David kind of seeing Kirk not only as someone he can direct his anger to, because prior to that's what David was doing. But as a human being that's kind of lived through a great deal of stress and made sacrifice and having to make like important decisions.
You're
So-
someone who's more broken than they come across as.
Yeah,
I would say,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and that's what I thought of. So you've got this moment between Jack and Picard, and this very, very close, like intimate moment, like them recognizing each other, seeing each other. The same where David and Kirk seeing each other.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great. That was great for there. Just made me think. But Jenny, you were gonna say something, Jenny.
Are
I
you all
took
right,
over,
Jenny? You
yes.
didn't-
Yeah. Good. So yeah, like there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of stuff happening, there's a lot of emotion, but what I appreciate about the way that they've put this all together and the way that they've written it is that it doesn't, despite the fact that you've got so many characters dealing with so much stuff, it doesn't go into like melodrama, you know. It's
Mhm.
not, it feels genuine, it feels like organic and real, and you know, it doesn't feel like a soap opera. I mean considering that we've got like a long lost son, you know, the fact that they've managed to do that and to integrate that story without it feeling, I don't know, hokey is amazing. Like they've really, the way that they've crafted this season is wonderful.
Yeah, I've never.
Especially
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
they-
Sorry, I didn't
like,
interrupt you.
just the characterizations and the way that they're interacting with each other. It's just, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never felt at any point in the season that it was hokey or cheesy. Like it's very the comedy is well timed, the moments are well written, the drama in particular is well written because it doesn't feel like campy or something like that. It feels real. You feel and you see the raw emotions behind these characters and the stuff they've had to overcome. They're not the same people they were in TNG. I think
Mhm.
I've heard a few people kind of complain, well, they never would have done this, that, or the other. It's like, well, yeah, but this is 20 some years in the future. I guarantee you the choices I made when I was 18 are not the same choices I'd make at 38. I'm not the same person. So you can believe that. You can get behind that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's what's interesting about it, you know. I mean if we wanted to see these people doing exactly what they did before, we've got, you know, 100 and so many episodes of them doing that, you know. But this is that evolution. Ooh.
There you go.
Bringing it back to Chris's point there.
Drop.
Oh, that is excellent.
Yep.
That is excellent. So now we are setting up to like a very, maybe the most I don't know, depending how you like it, impactful or pivotal scene of the episode where Data's on the ship now. The version of Data's there, and they are reactivating him, and it is Geordi, which I think is beautiful. That it's Geordi, the one that reactivating Data's best friend, Geordi, and
It had to be. It had to be, right?
Mhm.
Who else could it be?
yeah.
It would have
Yeah.
made no sense any other way.
Yeah. And Data is reactivated, and you have the reactions. I love Picard's first thing he says when he walks in the room. It's probably the only thing he could have said. First thing he says was, "Well, this is hard." So absolutely, and they reactivate him successfully, and you see the struggle on Data's face. And by the way, I thought Brett Spiner did if you guys noticed this, a beautiful job playing Data and B4 and Lore. Those expressions that changed on his face were outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No joke.
But how did you guys feel about this scene? Zach, we can start with you, Zach.
I was torn a little bit on this one.
Yeah.
It was very touching to see, you know, him go through those characters, which was awesome, and kind of settle in on Data. And then, you know, Data looks at Geordi and goes, Geordi? You know, like this kind of, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And then he looks over and he I think he said captain, right? Or something like that. Was a
Yes.
said Yeah, to Captain Picard. Well, Admiral now, but Captain Picard, and he's seen his best friend, and he's seen, his father figure, his captain, right? This mentor of his. Um, yeah, that's significant. But I'm torn because like we've already seen Data die twice. How many times is it gonna bring the character back? It's just like. So I was kind of torn. Honestly, there was a part of me that was kind of hoping it would be like not Data, but I mean, I guess maybe it is something more, right? It's not just Data. It's this supposed to be the best of everything, which you see the lore come out, you see the B4. I don't know. I'm still trying to gather my thoughts on my reaction to this.
No, all good.
But yeah.
Yeah, all good. Jenny.
I think what it feels like to me, especially the fact that Alton, that the body he gave him is as human as Picard's. Like,
Yeah,
like
it's
that
aged.
Yeah. And I mean, even his skin isn't gold. It's skin. The only thing about him that's really different is that they kept his eyes. But I feel, and this is what I meant when when I say that I'm excited about it, because again, I had zero expectation of anything other than lore, so I'm looking at this and seeing, okay, you've got all these different parts, you've got this pseudo human body. Maybe this is sort of going to be the ultimate evolution of Data into pulling into, like, you've got Data, and then you've got Lol's kind of like looking at everything with wonder. You've got Lore's emotions, and maybe there's a way that this all kind of comes together into something different.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna backfire in their face.
Or he's gonna kill them all. Yeah.
One of the two. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I'm really I'm really interested to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be really interesting what happens. So we get the reveal on what was actually stolen from Daystrom Station, which is a huge thing, right? That was like, oh, okay. But it was Picard's remains were stolen from Daystrom Station.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea where it's gonna go. Like, but for some reason the changelings wanted his remains, and I don't know. I think I'll just speculate. Well, I'm not sure. I can't speculate on where that's going to go.
The only thing I could think of is they want it because they want to duplicate him and a changeling take his form in order to infiltrate something. That's my initial like speculation. Whether it's right or not, it's probably not. But that would make sense to me. Or I initially thought, well, maybe they're getting his body to clone him or something, but they've kind of tried that. But the Romulans tried that before. It didn't work out too well, did it? But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, like why did they want Jack? What does Picard's body have to do with that? Like, why is why the two things? And also, no, not also that. Yeah, what do they have to do with? I mean, obviously they're father and son, but what about them makes them so
something genetics, I guess, maybe, right? Like, do they need Picard's body to try to cure Jack's syndrome? Because please tell me he's not a changeling. I don't know. I'm gonna try not to speculate though. I want to be able to go into it with, like you said, zero expectations. Just let it play out and see what happens.
That's very much how I'm looking at the next 4 episodes. Like I've actually taken a step back from trying to solve the mystery, and just I'm like, all right, I feel like we're in good hands.
Yeah.
The way that this has been crafted so far, I feel quite confident. Like I've seen some people saying, well, Deanna hasn't even done anything yet, and I'm like, yeah, but like she's going to, you
Yeah.
know, the intent here was to give them all, you know, like a rich, you know,
They mentioned like an ending they deserve or something like that, right?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so and yeah, so overall, I'm just kind of sitting back and letting them take me where they're gonna take me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Regarding the body,
Yeah.
The fact that Picard's body is there, the fact that Kirk's body is there, and I also saw somewhere, and I don't know where because I actually couldn't find it again, but I thought I saw somebody say that Archer's body's there too. I don't know.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and again,
So
I
it
don't.
becomes like a captain's memoriam, like cemetery or something like that
I
now.
don't
I guess I
know.
don't know.
I mean, you know, and again, like there's a lot of conjecture online and people being like, well, that's ridiculous. But I
But they had
mean,
Kirk's body, so
well, yeah,
why
you know,
not? Yeah.
and they've, you know, they've already had a case of the Romulans cloning Picard. Like maybe at that point, Section 31 was like, we need to go around and like collect up all these like, you know, leftover DNA and anybody important that they might be able to. I don't like.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, Section 31 put those things there for a reason. You know.
Maybe we'll find out in a Section 31 series, I hope. We'll find out why, maybe. That would be... I mean, they could do a whole season just based around stuff involved in the Daystrom station.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
With an episode showing why that was brought there and the yeah. Oh gosh. Okay.
How it was brought there. Yeah.
Exactly. Be awesome.
Yeah.
Do a whole like Torchwood series, basically. You know.
Yeah, I could see Section 31, like that team. I think I mentioned this before, Zach. That team would be kind of like a Mission Impossible type team for Starfleet. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Mix in some MacGyver and we're
good. Yeah. Jenny, you mentioned Deanna, and so Deanna makes her, I guess her debut. Oh, she's been on screen here before,
like
but she makes her in-person presence here. So we see her like she's a hostage on Vadic's ship, and this kind of makes sense because Vadic at the beginning of the episode, she's saying, I want every like associate, every friend, every ally of Picard, and kind of then we see her now. She's a hostage, and you get to see when Riker sees Riker's expression kind of when he realizes that, right? Because Riker is kind of mocking his hostage, his hostage takers, saying, hey, what are you going to get out of me? You know, I've been not going to get anything. I'm not going to betray my friends. And then Deanna's kind of revealed, and he's for sure worried, panicked about that. So we'll see where that goes. Like huge kind of cliffhanger right there on where this is going to go.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see, and then like whole bunch to find out, like about how they can rescue Riker and Deanna, and what's going to happen at Frontier Day, and a lot to kind of unravel there. So I'm with you guys. I'm not going to speculate either. I don't want to, but we'll see.
Try not to.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard not to.
I know. Even just now, I was like, what about?
Exactly. I'm like, all right, yeah. Just stop.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I did like how Worf clearly came to Picard and was saying, like, you know, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to bring William Riker home. I thought that was funny the way he said it, but I thought that was a very Worf thing to do, especially given in the past when he's lost someone. I mean, not that Riker was under his command, but on his team, that he took that personally. Like, you know, you're not taking my friend. I'm going after him. So
he lost Jadzia.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I'm interested to see if he and maybe Raffi end up going off or not. I don't know. Like, but again, I'm not speculating. I'm just interested.
But if you were to speculate, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, thank you for remembering that scene. I love that scene as well because Worf said something like, no no person, no creature, no God will stand in my way. Right?
That's from something. Did he say that before, or did someone else say that before? Because I remember that.
Oh, we're gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you know, leave us a comment in the chat below, or you can send us a message on social media. Let us know. I'd be curious too.
Yeah. Worf is such a great character, and I love that they did that. And there's such like, because you could see that like in his personality, there's such purity in that, because nothing is going to stop Worf, right? He's stubborn, right? But when he has his mind set and he has a mission, there's nothing in the universe that will stop him from trying. So I do absolutely love that about him. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, he's a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear kind of overall thoughts from each of you on the episode, and what it meant to you, what you feel about it, any standout moments from you. And we can start with Zach if you're good. If you're good. What do you think?
Go with Jenny.
Yeah?
Yeah, go with Jenny, because I
you got a lot on your mind. Yeah.
Well, I got to keep my comments short. I don't want to make this go 5 hours. So go ahead, Jenny. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think I'm looking at my final thoughts notes here, and I'm like, oh, I've covered that. So I definitely, I think, especially in the way that you framed kind of the themes, Chris, of this episode, I think it was just beautifully put together. I feel like every scene had a purpose and really kind of called back to that. And it, considering that, as we say, this episode was wall to wall fan service, I don't think I feel like this is the master class in how to do that. In a way that meant something, that it wasn't just throwing things at the screen, or just putting a bunch of Easter eggs in. It really tied in so well with what was happening. Like it just, quite honestly, and I mean, I'm a crier, right? I cried through most of this episode. On and off, and not like sobbing sad, but just I'm a happy crier. Like, it's just all these wonderful things are happening. I'm looking at my family getting all back together. It's just, it's very, very special. And I think I said it before, the way that they have brought everyone together, like obviously it would have been great to have Marina and Brent in more of the season, and LeVar, but the way that they've put those pieces of the puzzle together has been organic. It's made sense with the story, and at the point where we've got them all sitting around a conference table together as a team again, we will have earned it. It's I'm very happy. And I'm excited to see Geordi maybe have a little more fun.
Yeah, more fun. Yeah.
If that's possible in this like galaxy ending situation. What about you, Zach?
I promise to keep my comments short.
No. Oh man, go. You can.
No. I don't want to overtake this.
I like long podcasts myself.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. No. Okay. So just very briefly, I think this is my favorite episode to date thus far. I like, there's been so many fantastic moments so far, and we're only 6 episodes in. I know there's only 4 left, but only 6 episodes. I feel like I've watched like 4 Star Trek movies. That's how much they've crammed into this.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we're doing this episode by episode review, because I couldn't have imagined having to review. If we had reviewed the whole season at once, Chris, this would have been like a 10-hour long episode. Yeah. I mean, for real, if you think about it, right? I mean, it's insane. There's just been so much to talk about. I've hit on a lot of what I wanted to kind of say as we've gone through this episode. I did not cry during this episode, although there were moments I think maybe I could have. But seeing some of the things pop up on screen, this is the only episode so far in Picard where I've literally yelled at my TV, and for good reason. But just seeing the Defiant again, that I had a little bit of that allergy attack during that moment, but it wasn't too severe. So the relationship building, I think you nailed it exactly, Jenny, where you said, they're giving us the characters at different moments to build the puzzle. It wasn't all at once. I think if it was all at once, it wouldn't have maybe been as good.
Yeah.
And I love in this episode in particular, I love the discussion, and you mentioned this as well, Chris, about legacy, what you pass down to your children and your family line. I think to me that really stood out a lot. Because you think about it, right? You do not get to decide what you pass down genetically to your children. You have no say over that. What you can choose and what you can decide to pass down to them is a legacy, right? It's who you are. It's what you teach them. It's the values you give to them. It's the stuff you teach them, for lack of better words, I guess. And then obviously what they do with that when they go out into the world is different. And I think about it with my own kids, like, what legacy am I leaving them? What am I teaching them? What foundational truths am I giving them? What types of members of this human race am I helping them to become, right? Are they going to be loving people who contribute, to society? Are they going to be a drain on society? Those types of things go through my head. And that's kind of stuff I was thinking of in this episode was, what legacy am I giving them? What am I passing down to them that I have control over? So I'm going to stop there.
Well, that was beautiful, Zach.
Thank you.
You don't have to start. You don't have to stop there.
No, I will, because what's that? There's a phrase in there. I don't know. I can't even remember what it is. Something's a better part of valor in this case. Maybe
brevity.
Brevity. There you go. Yeah, I'll have brevity-ness in this case.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I promise those you listen, I have gone to school before. Yes. No, that's just what stood out to me. I covered a lot of what I wanted to mention as we went through this. So appreciate that. That was great.
Yeah, beautiful.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I feel very similarly to both of you. I love the idea of evolution. I love the idea and the discussion and kind of the presence of family lineage that was in this episode. What makes you who you are, right? Both all of the positive, both all of the negative, and all of that being together to make a whole. Whether it's positive or negative, that all completes us as a whole, and I'm kind of acknowledging that us as people. I love that we see that with Jack. Jack is obviously seeing that now. Seven even acknowledges it, right? Because Seven is making a direct acknowledgement of, hey, I came from Voyager. That was part of her maybe rebirth, or she was born again there. And then Sydney kind of realizing that with her relationship between her dad and her, and then that was a very, very nice interaction, because not only is Sydney taking something away from it, but her father is taking something away from it too.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful that her father can see, hey, Sydney is actualizing all of those values I taught her, and these are coming out right now, and I have to recognize that. So that was great. I love the idea of evolution and that metaphor with bringing in the starships, and having that go forward. Go ahead, Jenny.
No, just even as you've both been speaking, I just realized that the data situation, I think, actually really does fit into that theme.
Yes. So that's where, yes, thank you. That's where I was going. That's where I was going for that, right? Yes, absolutely. Because you had that holograph image of Dr. Soon talking about all the stuff that's going into data, right? And which I thought was beautiful. And not only, and I said this before, but not only the doctor, but it was Lowell, it was B4, it was Lore, all of this going into this rebirth of data, and then Data being reborn at that moment with the people closest to him in his life, the first things he sees, which I thought was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I think that was the absolute best way you could do it, either something like that or similar to bringing the character of Data back. And I know Data is more now, which is fitting. He's more than he was, which is fitting. So all of that, these are kind of my thoughts, and I take it in context as a whole. So the unfortunate part that I feel is, if in Picard's season, and this is not to take anything away from season 3 or this particular episode, because I love it. And the hard part I have is taking this episode in context with it all of Picard season 1, 2, and 3. If I think of Picard season 1 and the end of season 1 of what happened to Data, and I'll Zach, I promise I'll try not to go off on this.
Here we go.
Too long.
Here we go.
This is great. This is great.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But of what happened with Data at the end of season 1, if we thought the creators of the show thought, hey, we didn't have catharsis on Data's death, and we've got to explore that. We have to have catharsis on now Data dying from when he died in Nemesis, and we have to explore that. Right. Well, the whole point of catharsis is you go through that range of emotions, so you could come out of that with the conclusion, and then you are something else transformed after that. And now we have in season 3, and this latest episode, Data is reborn. We have Data back, and that's wonderful. I didn't react as emotionally. I know I didn't react as emotionally as you did, Zach, because of what happened in season 1. I felt like, okay, season 1 took me in this direction that I didn't think was the direction that made sense to me. And so that bothered me. And then we have this episode, season 6, where I thought, yes, this all feels right. This is what it should have been done. Season 1, the final episode of season 1, you took away from what this could have been done, what this could have been. You took away from this moment. Now this is just for me, right? But you took away of the meaning of what this episode 6 of season 3 could be, and how much that could mean for people. That was by itself, I love this episode. It was beautiful. When I consider it with what happened in season 1, I'm like, I think season 1 took away from what this could have been. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
You were a lot more heated on the phone, Chris, when you talked about this. But you're not wrong. I mean, this just goes to show, hey, when they bring somebody in who has clear direction of what they want to do with this, and Terry really grabbed a hold of this and has run with it, I think, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, there were some. Oh, Jenny, please go ahead.
No. Just regarding Data, I wonder 4 episodes from now whether that sort of conflict may. I'm really interested to see what they do with this M510 AI person, and how that sort of reconciles into, is it Data or is it something else?
Yeah.
Because maybe that will help, hopefully,
ease your mind, Chris.
Yeah.
Ease my mind.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, we talked about this before, Chris, how season 3, you could probably watch it without having watched season 1 and 2. I think there's been a couple of moments where I would kind of take that back, but in general, yeah, you probably could. It's almost like its own standalone season. And I think Denise and Michael Okuda both mentioned that Picard season 3 is kind of like getting a season 8 of TNG.
Yeah.
And actually, I remember I heard Jonathan Frakes mention one time that they thought they were actually going to go like 10 seasons. And so they were a little bit surprised that they only got 7.
Oh, they were, yeah. Yeah, I remember reading interviews with them back then, and they were all devastated. Like when they decided that it was done, we're gonna go make movies now, they were like,
Oh.
Yeah.
they felt like they'd have the rug pulled out from under them. They were not expecting that. Yeah.
Oh.
Better. They got
Which-
7 seasons, and Enterprise only got 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They barely got 4, which was a shame and actually a crime, actually. But yeah, this episode 6, between the Easter eggs and the moments, the father-daughter moments, or the best friend moments, or the interplay comedic moments. I mean, this episode, I felt very much like an emotional roller coaster, but in a good way. Way.
Oh yeah.
And to me, so far, this episode, I think, takes a cake, and we'll see where we're at when we get to the end of the whole season. On our final review of this, we will give our overall thoughts. For those of you who may have never watched us or listened to us before, Chris and I like to do a rating system when we watch things, like on a scale of 1 to 5 comm badges, with 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. We'll have to rate it, and we'll be curious to hear your rating on the overall season, Jenny. Man, what an episode! I mean, I don't know if my emotions can take too much more of this. My mind is kind of at this point spaghetti. From what we've seen in Picard season 3, it's been amazing. It's felt like we're going back with this crew. And I'm so thankful that we're doing this episode by episode review, because there's so much to talk about. Thankful for you, Jenny, for joining us in this, because it's been awesome. You brought up some amazing points that I certainly would not have made the connection to or thought of. So we really appreciate that. It's been fantastic. And I look forward to 4 more of these.
Yes.
It's not enough, but we'll take what we can get at this point. And who knows, maybe there'll be, I would certainly hope, with the success that Picard season 3 seems to be having, that CBS Paramount will be smart in this regard. So if you're listening to anybody from CBS Paramount, listen to us very carefully. You keep Terry at the helm, and you do it now. And don't you dare remove him from this spot, because if Terry's running the show, that means the OG, the Star Trek royalty people like Doug and Denise and Michael Akuta, Dave Blass, and all these people, they'll be all along for the ride, and we'll continue to get amazing Star Trek, which we've gotten this season.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, it's been fantastic. Chris, thank you for taking us through this episode. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it. We look forward to our next review of Picard season 3, episode number 7, apparently entitled "The Dominion." So if you're like me and you love DS9, I love TNG too. Don't get me wrong, I do. TNG has got a very special place in my heart. But if you love DS9 and you just know, and you just, with every fiber of your being, believe that was the greatest written series in the franchise, you know that you're not going to want to miss the review we have coming next weekend, of episode 7, entitled "The Dominion," because this one's going to probably be another doozy. And I might have to, I don't know, take an allergy medicine to keep me sleepy, so I don't fly off the rails with whatever we're going to get, because this is going to be amazing. I can already tell it's going to be amazing. So we look forward to bringing you that coming in about a week or so. We'll do this again, same bat time, same bat channel. And we look forward to discussing this more with you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in right here on the Random Red Shirt podcast. We always appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe button, and then bell for notifications. Leave us a comment below. Let us know how you're doing, and follow us on whatever your favorite podcast platform is, if you're listening to us in the audio version. And if you're only listening to us audio, you can always go over to YouTube and find the video version of this as well. So, and I do want to throw out one more plug really quickly for Trek Fest 38. So get ready to boldly go where thousands have gone before. It's Trek Fest 38 on June 23rd and 24th in Riverside, Iowa. This year, the event will feature some of the best bands in the area on the Riverside Casino and Golf Resort sponsored main stage. For more information about this year's event, you can visit them on Facebook at Riverside Trek Fest, or on the web at trekfest.org. Riverside isn't just where the best begins, it's also where the Trek begins. So I'll give that plug in there. I mentioned to Mr. Todd from Computer Resume Podcast that I would do that for them. And so if you get a chance to make it out there, please do so. But again, thank you so much for tuning into the Random Redshirt podcast. If you were chatting in the live chat during the premiere of this, we really appreciate that. And we love hanging out and talking Trek with you guys. So for the Random Redshirt podcast, I'm Zach. That's Chris, and that's Jenny. And we look forward to talking with you again soon right here on the Random Redshirt podcast.